Good morning, guys. Today we're going to look at some grammar. It's grammar that you're going to be seeing again. Some we've already talked about, so I just want to make sure that it's kind of fresh on your mind. You may want to take some notes as we discuss what we're doing and why we're making changes to some of the things that you see in this paragraph. I'm going to leave that up to you. You may want to have those notes handy next week sometime, maybe during a unit assessment. So if it were me, I'd probably take some notes. I've got a paragraph here that I've written, and I used Anastasia as my subject. And then I've got some questions that go with the things that you see underlined or numbered, just like how you have in your unit assessment. It says Anastasia was playing in her treehouse, creating her own kind of entertainment during COVID. Also, as I'm reading, so I'm going to read through it first, I would love for you to jot down things that you see already off the top of your mind that are wrong before we even get to the questions, because it's better when you recognize it for yourself. On Saturday, she saw some birds flying from tree to tree. They make nests from the branches they collected. I wonder how they make their nests, she said to herself. One of the birds answered, We use the sticks and other things like pine straw, hair, or anything else that might help us weave the sticks together. Anastasia was astonished. These birds are answering her questions as they prepared their nests. Anastasia could not wait to tell her classmates about the talking birds during morning meeting, but who would believe her? All right, so question number 1 says which word in sentence 2 should begin with a capital letter. As I'm thinking about capital letters, friends, I'm asking myself, what are the rules about capital letters? Well, I know that the first word should be capitalized. I know that proper nouns, that's people, the names of a noun. So like a teacher is not a proper noun, but Dr. Hasty is the name of a teacher. So I'm looking for those things, a first word or a proper noun, which is the name of a person, place, or thing. When I go back to sentence 2, I see that the first letter is capitalized. So that's not it. Then I see on Saturday, she saw some birds flying from tree to tree. Well, the only noun that I see that's the name of a person, place, or thing is the word Saturday, because it's the name of a weekday. And I notice immediately that my S is not capital. Therefore, my answer should be Saturday. That should have had a capital letter, and I just spelled Saturday. All right. Sentence 2. No, number 2. Sentence 3. How should the verb be written? So I'm looking at the verb and I'm trying to decide what's the proper way of writing a verb. So again, I need to know, what is a verb? So I know that a verb shows action, like jumping, running, sleeping. Even though you're not doing anything, you are sleeping. That is a thing. Eating, reading, etc. Okay? So let's go back and see if we can find a word that shows action in sentence 3. And it's underlined. So there we go. They make nests from the branches they collected. Now, what I have to know about verbs in order to understand this is that if I have to understand past tense, present tense, future tense. So if I am making something right now, I am making it. They make. Make is a, what did you make? So you have to look at what word's going with make, and then is it happening now? Is it happening in the past? Or is it going to happen in the future? And one way that we can do that is by also looking at other verbs in the sentence. They make nests from the branches they collected. So they collected the branches, and now they are making the nests, okay? So we need a helping verb with this word make. They make nests, they are making nests. So we have to add it's called progressive tense, progressive verb. So we're going to say they are making it. So we add that word are making. Usually if you have the pronouns they, you would say they made, not, or trying to think of another one. They made nests from the branches they collected. That would be past tense, but because it's happening now, we have to add the are making. I don't like that being capital. All right, now we're moving on to sentence 4. Sentence 4 says, I wonder how they make their nests, she said to herself. They're asking us about the dialogue. They use dialogue, and you see that with the quotation marks. And they want to know what punctuation is missing. Now, we've been working a lot with dialogue lately. Excuse me. So I'm going to go back, and I know that anytime I use dialogue, I have to have quotation marks. Okay? I have to have a comma, or if it's just a straight quote and that there's no more continuing after the quote, I have a comma or ending punctuation. Move my face real quick. Okay, so these are the things I'm looking for: quotation marks, comma, or ending punctuation. So I immediately see I have my quotation marks, so that's good. I have she said to herself with the ending punctuation here, which is great, which means that what I'm looking for is this comma. That's what I'm missing. Oops, undo that. What did I just do? I made it get smaller, but I don't know how I shrunk it, guys. I told it to do the wrong command. Hold on. There we go. I wanted it to underline, and I think instead of hitting Control, I hit Shift. There we go. So when I go back and I see that I have ending punctuation here, that means I need to have a comma there. So that's what's missing, and I'll just bold print that as our answer. All right, moving right along to sentence 6. It says, Anastasia was astonished. What could be a synonym for the word astonished? Well, I have to know that a synonym is a word that has a similar meaning. So we have to go back and think about Anastasia in this sentence. How is she feeling? The birds are answering her question. She feels she was astonished. So it could be a few things, right? It could be maybe that she's shocked. She's excited. Maybe she thinks it's funny. Surprised. Maybe scared. I think I might be scared of a bird talk to me. Okay, so we have some words that could fit. So we really have to go back and we have to think to ourselves, what's happening and how does she respond? So she's astonished the birds were answering her question. She couldn't wait to tell her friends. So I'm going to say probably right off the top, I don't think she was scared. Because if she was scared, I think we would see something that might say, oh, Anastasia ran away, like that scared her. She could be surprised. I would be surprised. Would you be surprised? Shocked. Even excited. Those three could work. What about funny? Do you, like amused? Like she thinks she's amused, or she thinks it's funny, or like it's making her laugh. I don't know if that would be my first response. Do you guys think so? I'm thinking my first response, it might be amusing, like, oh my gosh, there's animals talking to me, but my first response isn't going to probably be to laugh. So I'm going to take that one off. So I'm back down to these words that are shocked, excited, surprised, which all have kind of a similar meaning, which all could fit in there. So if I had multiple choice here, I would be looking for a word that sounded something like this, because any of these are kind of the same, like shocked and surprised are pretty much the same thing. Excited is a little different, and I would say excited would be a good choice because she's wanting to go back and tell her friends. So not a bad choice, but it would just depend on what your options were. But I want you to pay attention to how we took the words that we thought of on an assessment. They're going to give you some choices. And you take each of those choices and you go back to the sentence and you ask yourself, does it fit what's happening in the story? Do her actions support that she feels scared? Do her actions support that she feels shocked? Ask yourself that. Does it make sense? Do her actions support that she thinks this is hilarious and funny and it's amusing? Because that's how we end up making the best choice from the options we're given. And then the last sentence, sentence 7, not the last sentence of our story, the last question, which is asking us about sentence 7, and we're looking at that verb again. And so we already know from earlier that a verb shows action. So I'm looking at the words are answering. Answering is my verb. Are is that helper, okay? We're looking at that progressive tense again. The birds are answering her questions as they prepared their nest. So when I'm listening to that, they are answering. She was astonished. The birds are answering her questions as they prepared their nests. I don't know that are is the correct helping verb here. I don't think they are answering as they prepared their nest. Okay, so there's that other verb we need to listen to. As they prepared their nest, they were answering. Good. I hope some of you guys were already saying that to me and you're on the video. Dr. Hasty, they were answering as they prepared. And sometimes, guys, when you don't know the rules all the time for these verbs and which one goes with which, a lot of times it's just a matter of listening. What sounds proper? What sounds correct? Always go back to that. If you don't know and you're like, I don't know, shoot, I don't know. Read it. Read some different options. But look at the clues in your sentence. Look at the other verbs. What is happening? Is it now? Was it then? And that usually will give you what you need to know about making a better choice for that helping verb when you're doing progressive tense. Okay? So they were answering. All right, my friends, I hope you've taken a little bit of notes, even if it's just writing down what a verb is, when we use a capital letter, the notes about using dialogue, the things that we should have when we're using dialogue. And then just for the verb tense, looking at other verbs in the sentence, and then maybe a note about asking yourself, is it past, present, or future tense that the story is taking place? Because those are kind of the clues you're looking for when you're trying to make a choice or make an answer about what should be the correct way to write a verb. We'll see you in class in just a little bit. You can always go back and pause and jot down your notes or write down anything that you need to write that you might need to use later. See you later. Happy Friday.